Chapter 12, Anniversary. Back in the rainy season, our cow had given birth to a bull calf. Long before spring came, I pierced his nose and inserted a ring so we could more easily manage him. At that point, a question arose. Who should be his master, and how should the young bull be trained? As the family discussed the matter, I said, people in southern Africa train bulls to guard their valuable herds and even do battle with other tribes. That would be fine, said my wife, if we were in southern Africa. But we are not, and I don't want a mean bull around. I knew that tone. All right, I said. Who will train this calf? To my surprise, no one volunteered. Ernst preferred training Nips. Jack was busy with Storm the buffalo and Fangs the jackal. Fritz was content with his onager Lightfoot. Their mother took care of the old gray donkey, whom she had named Grizzle. I didn't have time. Only Franz was available. What do you say, my boy? I asked him. Oh, yes, father, he replied. Do you think I'll be able to ride him when he grows up? I smiled. He's yours, Franz. Make him as tame as you can, but remember, he will grow up much faster than you. What will you name him? Franz listened for a moment, then said, He makes a low muttering noise. How about Grumble? Very good, I exclaimed. Franz leapt for joy. Grumbles, it's a lot better than your buffalo's name, Jack. It isn't even close, said Jack. Imagine Mother saying, Here comes Franz on Grumble, but Jack riding on Storm. Franz's older brothers reassured him that Grumble fit perfectly. Next, they proposed to name Juno's puppies Bruno and Fawn. This animal management business was a helpful distraction from the boredom of our long confinement. We spent 2 months improving Rock House. We built partition walls and animal stalls. After leveling the floors with clay, we paved them with a mix of gravel and melted gypsum. Finding this a bit too hard, I made a rug for our living room. From a large sail, some glue, and a lot of sheep's wool and goat's hair. One morning, as I was making lists of summer and winter projects, I got to work, wondering how long we'd been here. I consulted my almanac and realized that tomorrow would be the first anniversary of our safe landing. My heart swelled with gratitude to God for our escape, our health, and our comfort and prosperity. I began planning a festival, but kept this to myself. I started the day's work in a typical fashion by telling the boys to spend the day cleaning up Rock House. This was such a normal order, it aroused no suspicion. At dinner, I made the announcement. Tomorrow is a very important day. It is the first anniversary of our safe landing here. In honor of God's mercy, let's celebrate it as Thanksgiving Day. Everyone was surprised. My wife questioned my reckoning, but the records in my almanac convinced her. Well, my husband, she said, unless your bookseller has mailed you a new almanac for next year, we'll have to devise our own calendar. As I laughed, Ernst suggested, we should cut notches in a long stick, 1 notch per day. That's fine if you know how many days are in a year, I said. The year contains 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 45 seconds, he answered promptly. Perfect, I said, smiling. But what will you do with those spare hours, minutes, and seconds in a year or two? Add them together every 4 years, said Ernst, to make an extra day in February, and call it leap year. Well done, Professor. As official astronomer, you're now in charge of all clocks, watches, and calendars. Everyone laughed except Ernst, who nodded agreement. Before they went to sleep, I could hear my boys whispering among themselves about Father's festivities, for I had given no details. I didn't suspect that the little rogues might plan their own surprise. I awoke at daybreak the next morning to the thunder of cannon. At first, I thought I dreamt it, but my wife's fright proved that it was real. I turned to wake Fritz up, but his hammock was empty, as was Jack's. I was dressing in haste and confusion when I heard shouting outside, Hooray! How's that for a Thanksgiving Day salute? Jack and Fritz rushed in, but when they saw our alarm, Fritz hurried to apologize. We forgave them. I have to admit, it was a resounding way to begin a new holiday. After breakfast, we spent the beautiful morning relaxing and talking. I wanted my sons to remain thankful for their deliverance, and we shared our recollections of the fateful day. I read aloud passages from my journal as well as many beautiful psalms. Each thanked God in his or her own words. After lunch, I revealed the next phase of the festivities. It's time for the athletic competition. Your mother and I will be the audience and the judges. Father, what a great idea! Will we have races? And will there be prizes, Father? The judges offer prizes for completion in every sort of exercise, I replied. Shooting, running, riding, leaping, climbing, and swimming. Let's see your skills. I had planned the next moment with care. Trumpeters announced the start of the competition. The ducks and geese were resting nearby in the shade, clearly not caught up in the festive spirit. I ran into their midst, flapping my arms and making a commotion. Startled, they all flew up in great haste with much quacking and honking. My sons laughed uproariously as they bustled about to prepare. What's first, Father? Asked Fritz. First we'll have marksmanship, I replied, then the rest later, when it cools down. Here's your first target, I added. I produced a board in the rough size and shape of a kangaroo. Jack insisted on adding ears and a long leather strap for a tail. I set it up in a kangaroo's typical posture, walked off the firing distance, and told each competitor to fire twice. Fritz hit the kangaroo's head both times. Ernst hit the body once. By sheer luck, and much to our amusement, Jack shot the ears clean away from the head. Next, I had them shoot at the kangaroo with pistols. Fritz won this too. I then had the competitors load with birdshot, and I threw a little board high in the air for each boy. In this, to my surprise, Ernst equaled Fritz. Jack's flying board escaped all injury, and we jokingly drowned out his excuses. Archery came next. I wanted my sons to practice hard at this. For one day we would run out of ammunition. In this, my elder sons both did well, as did little Franz. After a rest, I announced a race. Fritz, Ernst, and Jack must run to Falconhurst, I announced. I left my hammer on the table in my sleeping room. Whoever brings it back is the winner. Get ready, get set, go. All three took off. Fritz and Jack took a quick lead over Ernst, who kept a calm, steady pace. Long before we expected to see them back, a tremendous noise came from the bridge area, Jack thundering in on Storm with the onager and donkey braying along behind. What sort of foot race do you call this, Jack? I asked with a laugh. He reined up Storm, leapt off, and saluted playfully. When I saw that I didn't have a chance, I gave up on the prize and rode back, so I could be in time to see the others puffing in. Lightfoot and Old Grizzle invited themselves. Ernst returned next, holding up the hammer in proof of victory. Fritz puffed in a couple of minutes later, congratulated Ernst, and laughed at Jack's notion. Now let's see how well you climb, I said. Jack climbed the highest palm with wondrous agility. When he put on the sharkskin leggings, he played around like a monkey, peeping around the trunks and grinning at us. Fritz and Ernst climbed well, but could not begin to match their lively young brother. The next competition was riding, and Fritz and Jack proved equal in managing their steeds. Just when I thought the event was over, little Franz appeared from the stable leading Grumble, the bull calf, now partly grown. He had attached a bridle to the nose ring and had even made a kangaroo hide saddle. The child marched up, saluted us with confidence, and exclaimed, Now, most learned judges, prepare to see something wonderful. The great bull tamer, Milo of Crotona, asks the honor of performing for you. I suppressed my laughter and gave Franz a solemn nod of encouragement. He took a riding crop in one hand, leading his calf with the other. On command, young Grumble walked, trotted, and galloped in a circle around his master. Then Franz mounted up. Grumble proved a bit clumsy, but very tame. Rarely needing even a tap from the riding crop, we gave him a fine round of applause. I'm twice as proud of you, Franz, said my wife, because you treat him so gently. Your kindness has bred kindness. As his mother went back to the cave to arrange the award ceremony, I made a point not to notice little Fran's tears of pride and happiness, in part because I had to hold back my own. The last sport was swimming. Fritz swam effortlessly and with great endurance. Ernst was too tired to do well. Jack's energetic haste soon exhausted him. Franz showed such great promise that I foresaw a day when he would surpass Fritz. I was immensely proud of all my sons. It was getting late, so we went back to Rock House. The boys marched in, pretended to play various instruments in imitation of a band. My wife sat in a dignified position, the prizes at her side. All four halted before her, bowed respectfully, and waited. She addressed the boys in order of age, adding a few words of encouragement for each. Fritz, you swam the best. You swam and shot the best. Here are a double-barreled rifle and a hunting knife. His eyes lit up, and he thanked his mother. Ernst, you showed great stamina in the running. This handsome gold watch will help you keep track of time. Ernst admired it with quiet pride. Jack, you had no equal in climbing and riding. This riding crop and these silver-plated spurs are your prize. Jack hurried to put on the spurs, then strutted about like a little rooster while everyone tried not to laugh. Franz, my little Milo of Crotona, you have taught grumble, gentle obedience at a young age, just as I hoped. This rhinoceros hide whip is a man's tool, but you've shown that you're old enough to know when not to use it. Franz ran a hand over the smooth surface, beaming with joy. When everyone thought the ceremony was over, I advanced with a gift for my wife, a beautiful box filled with every imaginable requirement for a lady's needlework. She embraced me with surprise and delight. The boys wanted to waste some more ammunition to end the day, and I could hardly deny their high spirits after their fine showings. As the cannon blasts echoed away, we went to dinner, followed by worship and rest. Soon after the great festival, I remembered the huge flocks of ortolans and wild pigeons we had caught feasting on falcon wings figs at about this time last year. The preserved birds had been a great winter food supply, and we felt we should catch and preserve more this year. We set aside our construction work and hurried to Falconhurst. Just as I had suspected, the early arrivals were already gorging on figs. To spare ammunition, I tried to devise the Palm Islanders called bird lime, a very sticky mixture of raw rubber and oil, known to trap even larger birds. When I sent Fritz and Jack with containers made from gourds to get the rubber, I remembered something. Elizabeth, I said, we really should go to Calabash Wood and make more containers, but that will be a very long trip just for gourds. Don't forget about my plantation near the potato field, she reminded me. Yes, I replied. That's much closer. Jack and Fritz would be gone for a while, so the rest of us went on our own expedition. The plantation was a great success, full of fine gourds and pumpkins. When we had a cartload of the best ones, we hurried home to start making basins, dishes, plates, flasks, and spoons of all sizes. The result reflected our growing skill. When the riders returned with the rubber, they brought several novelties as well. Fritz had shot a crane. They had also taken time to collect aniseed, fir cone, candleberries, and a curious root they called the monkey plant. And why do you call it that? I asked. Well, father, answered Fritz, we came to a clearing near woodlands and saw a troop of monkeys tearing up and eating some sort of roots. The funniest part was that a monkey couldn't pull up the roots. He would take the stem in his teeth and fling himself over backwards, and it would come up. What a silly sight! We wanted to try them ourselves, added Jack, so we turned the dogs loose. That cleared the apes out. The roots tasted good, so we brought some for you to try. I went first. This might be ginseng, I said. Everyone wanted to know more. The Chinese prize the ginseng root very highly and use it in their medicines. Then Fritz continued. After this, we went on to woodlands. It was a mess. Everything smashed or torn and covered with mud and dirt. The birds were terrified, the sheep and goats scattered. It looked like a hurricane had hit. What? I exclaimed. My wife looked very worried. I knew what she was thinking. I would not take chances with my own family's safety. Did you find the culprits? I asked. It must have been the monkeys, said Jack. When they were done messing up the yards and sheds, I suspect they slipped a young monkey through some small opening to unfasten the shutters. You know how clever they are. After that, they stormed into the cottage and tore everything up. They probably only left when the food ran out, miserable creatures. While we were standing there in shock, continued Fritz, we heard a lot of bird noises overhead and looked up. A wedge-shaped formation of big birds was coming down to land in the lake. A closer look told us that they were cranes. They played in the water a while, then flew over to the rice fields and began to feast. We sneaked up, hoping to get off a shot, but they had posted lookouts. The whole flock took off before we could shoot. So I turned my eagle loose. He dove and caught a crane, and they fought fiercely on the way down. They landed close to us, and I was sad to see that the beautiful crane was already dead. Luckily, the eagle was unhurt, so I gave him a small pigeon from my game bag. After this, we went back to Woodlands to get some fir cones for turpentine, then headed home. Dinner was ready, and we found the new roots a tasty addition to stew. Even so, we would use the monkey plant with caution. Like any plant thought to affect one's health, we saved some of the plant in our kitchen garden. As we prepared for sleep, I gave thanks for my sons' growing wisdom. They performed well as a team, and when alone, they showed initiative and sense. My final thoughts as I drifted off were of the resourceful, intelligent wife who had borne them. Though stranded on a remote island, I was as blessed as any man in the world.